this computer, and we are recording. All right, so welcome everybody to this Saturday workshop. What we're going to talk about today is Snagit. So I got Richard and Andrew, and hopefully some other people slide on in. Some people come in a little later, that's fine. I want to just mosey on through, and for the recording purposes, if we have any questions that are related to Snagit, that's cool. If we get off on a tangent, I might bring you all back just so we can stay on topic. Let me, first of all, screen share. I'm going to screen share my main screen just to show you that I have Snagit right here. I'm going to open it. This is I do have the Snagit 2018, so it opened to the new version, and here it is. This is kind of what it looks like when you first get it. Obviously, if you have an older version, it has changed, so that's some things to keep in mind there, that things are different and in different places. I'm going to maybe not do that full screen, but make it pretty big. Let's see. Yeah, so there we go. So that's our window, and then it has all the menus and stuff at the top. I'm not going to go every single thing. I'm just going to kind of show you some of the things that I do and how I use it, because a lot of times I find that I use the like I make kind of like procedural things on how to do certain things and steps to take, buttons to hit, things like that with arrows and things like that. But it's pretty robust now what you can do. So I just wanted to kind of go over some of the stuff if you've never used Snagit. A lot of people use the snipping tool, like you can see down at the bottom, Windows snipping tool. I use that quite often too, but when I need it more elaborate and I want to add some arrows and things like that, and you guys can interject. Andrew, do you use Snagit very much, or?
I used to use it some.
Mm-hmm.
I just yesterday got the new version. I haven't used it in probably a year and a half. And what I'm looking, when I open Snagit, I am not seeing that.
Okay. What do you see?
I'm seeing a little bitty blue thing that's got some of that in it, but you can't expand it out that far. It doesn't have the maximize window in it. It's only got a close and a
Now,
thing.
are you using the editor? Or are you opening the Snagit to?
I'm opening the orange one, not the editor.
Okay.
There's two buttons. One's an orange one, one's a blue one.
Yeah, the capture. Okay.
Okay. Is that what it is? All right.
One's the capture and one's the editor. So if I hit capture right now, you'll see it come up on screen, and there you go.
That's the one I've.
Okay. This is what you use to actually capture something, like capture an area, and I'm going to show you that in just a section.
Okay.
But I'm in the editor. It's right here. Snagit editor at the top.
Yeah. Okay, so that makes sense.
That's the difference. So I'm actually in the editor. This is where you actually do the work, and that's really what I'm going to talk about today. The very beginning, I'll show you the capture. That's what's kind of cool. I always open the editor, and if I want to capture something, I can capture something later. But a lot of people capture things on the go, so they leave Snagit on so they can capture it any time. So that's probably where you're coming from and what you have. So that's cool. All right, so let's move on to what I want to capture. So one thing I have it set to, so since we are going to do that, I'm going to go ahead and reopen that. So the capture, this portion of it, I'm going to move this out of the way just so you can see just this. You can see you can do a region, window, full screen, and I have 4 windows for it to choose from because I have 4 monitors. Scrolling window, panoramic, grab text, advanced. You get all kinds of stuff that you can do right there from this. So I leave it on region. Effects, you can go ahead and add effects as you're capturing it. You can do share. You can share it to like your Google Drive or whatever, so it automatically has a spot where it's going to go to once you capture it. I usually do image. You can do all in one, video, etc. Copy to clipboard. It'll capture whatever you're doing on screen too. So if you want to just go ahead and fully do your demo, it's kind of cool. What we're doing is just picking an image and going to work with that image in the editor. That's what we're focused on today and show you some of that kind of stuff. So let me pull this back over so you can kind of see when it loads and what I do when it comes up. So let me get that on top. So now that's on top. I'm going to hit this red capture button. And if you notice, I have time delay on, and I have it set to 5 seconds. This gives me time to open up a menu. So for example, I'm gonna bring this on screen so you can kind of see it. I'm going to be opening the Google Apps menu. That's what I'm going to be doing, but I'm going to show you that I have 5 seconds to do that. And I think it's right. There's going to be a little timer down the bottom right corner to tell me how long I have to get that open and where I want to go. So I'm going to hit capture. When I hit the red button, and I'm going to pull this in and give me 3, 2, 1, etc. And I have it right there, and boom, it immediately gives me this. I can capture, since I'm doing a region, I can do a section, okay? I can do a section of something that I want. So I take this little bullseye, and it's the top right. It's just showing you a magnifying glass. And it also gives you, it's kind of cool, it gives you a menu of some of the things you can do as well. And I just made it go away. But I'm going to go ahead and capture just the apps menu, just so you can kind of see what I'm doing there. So boom, there's my capture. And immediately, I'm done with the capture. I can close this, I can shrink it, I can do whatever I want because I'm not going to capture anything else today. So right here's the editor. It brings it up in the editor. I have the editor. It has exactly what I captured. Now, some things that I like to do, let's say I'm going to use calendar as an example today. I want to bring this over, okay? I'm bringing the canvas where it's open more and you can kind of see. All I'm doing is just expanding that a bit to make that image a little bit bigger. What I want to do is, though, I want to grab the calendar and make it bigger. So what I usually do, there's a couple ways of doing this, and there's some idiosyncrasies here. And you guys, if you guys know something different about this program or can help me or whatever, or anybody that sees this later, feel free to interject something. But I don't know how to do certain things, and I'd love to learn how to do it. And I'm going to watch some videos too to try and figure out some of this stuff, and you'll see what I mean in just a second. So I go up here to selection. I'm going to select, I can do freehand and then a different shape, that kind of thing. I can do all, and it has other stuff that you can do. I'm going to go to my calendar, and I'm going to select this all. Now I'm going to copy. It can go up to copy and paste, Control C, Control V. So now I have a copy of that, and I can move that over here. And here's what I do a lot of times. I'll just take this, and what I do is I just make that bigger because that's the part I'm going to emphasize. There's a couple things you can do, a couple ways you can do certain things too. So I'm going to show you that, and I'll show you what I'm unable to do and what I'm able to do. So I like to do this, and then I can also turn this. This is kind of cool. So if I wanted to turn that, give it a little angle, always remember it has Control Z. So if you do something by mistake, you can Control Z, and it is multi-Control Z. I don't know if you knew that or not. Andrew, do you use that?
I've never used it. I didn't even know you could do it, and there have been times when I wanted to tilt something like that, and I kept saying, of course, you know me, I get so much in a hurry, I'm not going to stop in the middle of something to look something up, you know.
All right, so I have that image, and now I'm going to, here's a lot of times what I'll do is I'll take a shape, and we're going to use purple today. You can change them to different colors, and you can do different outlines, fill, shapes, all that kind of stuff. I'm going to take purple as my outline this time, and I'm going to go kind of around the calendar thing. See, so I have that right there. And I can make this thicker. If I want this to be like, instead of size 3, I can make it like 8, so it gets thicker or whatever. And you can see it getting larger and bigger, or can you? Let me see. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so thickness is, okay, now let me do it. There we go. Now it's getting thicker. So there's 6. There you go. So 7 is pretty good. I can change that opacity of that if I want to bring that down. You can do that kind of thing. Cool. Now, a lot of times what I'll do is I will go to arrows, and I can I'll choose a purple color. Since we're on that theme, I'll go ahead and go, and I will add that arrow from there to there, okay? Sometimes I might even just do something to the effect, and I'm going to send this behind. See, now let's see how that looks. You can kind of see if there's any overlap. You'll be able to see that. Yeah, there is a little bit of overlap, so you want to try to get your edge select that item and move it just a little bit so it's over. There you go. That's better. And if I want to take that arrow part off, a lot of times you want to just make it one straight line. So I'll just go point to point.
Mm-hmm.
You can do that as well. I can select the item and move my arrows. I'm using my keyboard arrows to move those as well. So you can do that. And I might even do make a copy of that. Control C, Control V. So now I have two of them. So what I can actually do is kind of make it like kind of my own style call out. Let's say I wanted this to look like it was coming, expanding and going up or that kind of thing. It probably doesn't look just right. I could probably do something like this. The other nice thing that you can do is I can hit Control, I believe. Oh, not Control, Shift, I think. Okay, select. Okay, I'm wrong. Alt, maybe? I can't remember which one it is. Maybe it is Control. Trying to group the items, and I can't remember exactly how to group them so they all move together if I wanted to, and I will figure that out.
Okay, quick question.
Sure, fire away.
You had the arrowhead pointing to the small calendar thing.
Mm-hmm. Can
you reverse the arrow so that the arrowhead would be pointing from the small one up to the big one, like?
Yep.
Yeah, so direction of expansion. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. So let's say we have it like this, right? Mm-hmm. I come over here to the right. This is where I'm getting that end style.
I
can go over. See how I choose the arrow? Now I have it. So yes, you can make it go either way, or I can actually flip the whole thing around.
Oh wow! Okay.
I can make it go wherever I want and how long I want. So you can do it either way. Good question. All right, so that's just one example of what you can do. One of the things you can do, you can kind of make it, if you wanted to change the format of it, you can make it like a dotted, that kind of thing. And like I said, if you wanted to flip that, I could just do the same thing. I can just point the arrow this way and like this, and I can actually point into, something like that. So now it looks like that. So yeah, you got some variety of stuff that you can do. Now let's, I'm going to, just for the sake of purposes and being able to see and cutouts and things like that. So another way of doing something like this is a call out. Okay, call outs are pretty cool too, because it gives you the opportunity. If you look over here, there's some call outs right there. You do have some basic ones and then urban ones. Urban ones add some other cool stuff like arrows and this kind of stuff and different colors. You always have choices over here, lots of menus. So there's a lot of things that you can pull from. Let's just pull this one since we're on the purple theme. And once I have it, I'm going to drag it to make it as big as I want. Oh, I thought I grabbed the purple one. Maybe I didn't, but that's okay. It's no worries because I can change the fill color. I can change that fill color to the purple, that kind of thing. And the border, if I want, I can change the border to that color, or no fill, can do this. Or if I wanted to pick a color, I can do that as well. So, and if you notice, it's kind of transparent. Okay. So, and it's kind of cool. It gives you kind of a, not just a straight up square, kind of gives you like a little, I don't know, it's kind of neat, a little box image kind of thing. Now, I want to take that same calendar. So let's see if I can print it. Control V. Oops, not what I wanted to do. Okay, so here's what I want to do. I'm going to have to regroup and gather that. I'm going to move this out of the way for a second. I'm going to have to select again the calendar because this is what I want in the middle of that. And again, I have not learned how to do this. Control C. And hopefully I can just select this and hit Control V, and it does not come up inside. This is the part that I don't understand why it doesn't work, and maybe someone that uses this more often can interject. It would be really nice if this ended up inside this shape, but it doesn't for me. So what I do is I just do a kind of a workaround. I just kind of make it the size I want. If this is the size I wanted, then I make this part right here fit within that to make it work. So that's my process right now till I can figure out how to make that a little different. But I mean, let's see. Yeah. See, so that stays there like that. Now, there are issues with that though, because let me go to the next four. Make double, add a call out, edit text. Okay, so one thing that's really cool now that they did in this is you can now edit text. This is really cool. Have you tried this yet, Andrew?
No, I opened it just enough to see that first screenshot and
Okay.
then got off on something else.
And Richard, I'm not excluding you, but I don't remember what you said. Do you use Snagit or not? I know you're muted at the moment, but um, just let us know either way. And if you're out doing something at the moment, that's fine too. So one thing you can do, it's really kind of cool. If I go to move, once I go to move, you'll see something happen that's really quite cool. Let's see. Let me get to. Well, I thought it would. Oh, that's right. I have to put smart move on. Once I turn it on, see how it identifies it. Now it's identifying stuff on your screen. So if you get a little, see where it has an A next to the horizontal line there, that lets you know that you can edit the text. And notice on this one, it will not let me edit text, either one of those. So once you have a copied image, sometimes it will, sometimes it won't. It's just hit and miss, whether it recognizes it as text. Okay, now it recognizes this as an image, but it doesn't recognize it as text, and you can turn that image, etc. What's kind of cool though is if it does recognize it, even if it's not text, if it's just an icon, like if I wanted this YouTube icon, I select it, I can actually move it, and I can put it right. That's really cool that you're able to do that, and it automatically picks up a background of everything else, you know. And if I have this wrong, I can hit Control Z to come back to the original. Also, let's say, for example, if I wanted this to be to recognize text again, trying to recognize text. See, it recognizes it as a whole line. The whole line is recognized. So instead of YouTube, or let's go over here just to this example. See how it changed? It changed the format and everything of how you do it and things like that. You can hit Control Z. Control Z. There we go. Back to normal. Let me come to back to move. Let's go back again and turn on smart move. Let's just say, for example, I wanted to change this from calendar to cal. Probably have to center it a bit. Yeah, see, it's not going to center on its own, which is kind of, I mean, it takes, oops, I didn't mean Control Z. Didn't mean to do that. I did, there we go. Okay. So there is some tweaking, and you have to really work with some things to get it to go exactly right. It's kind of tedious. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of tedious in what you have to do to get it to, there we go. So now it moved over to.
Okay, you were just inserting spaces in front of that, right?
Right. All I'm doing is just, yeah, exactly. Trying to insert spaces to make it fit as wide as it needs to be and that kind of thing. So yeah, trying to. That's what I'm working on. So if I want to expand that out, there we go. It's not centered or anything, but boy, I mean, that's the thing that was tough to me. It'd be before, earlier when I was in doing this, I could take an individual. This is taking a whole line right now. Okay. So, and I can probably, details, if I increase the details, there we go. Now see how it gets the word now instead of the there. That's a little bit nicer. So if I wanted this to say, I can hit it. If it's the A, I can change it from photos to photo and then slide it over. Kind of gives you perspective there too in the line. So that's kind of cool. So now it's photo instead of photos. I can do those kind of things. That's some of the cool things you can do. It's kind of neat. If I wanted to take this, you know, keep or whatever, and I can adjust it. I can make it, you know, go on its side. That's kind of cool. If I wanted to take this, well, I think I can. Yeah, if I take this, I can spin it. Yeah, it's kind of neat to be able to do that kind of stuff with some of the things you have on screen. It's kind of to be able to isolate it and do it. It's kind of cool. I like that kind of stuff. I like things that you can do. So turn in an icon, that kind of thing. All right. I can also, one thing they have, I'm trying to remember this too. Now, let me do a lot of Control Z to get rid of some of this stuff so it can come off screen. See how far back this Control Z will work. Should go all the way back to where I started for the most part. You can see all the moving and stuff and add stuff that I did. I did a lot there.
They need a clear all button.
Probably have it. I probably just haven't looked at it or figured it out or whatever. But yeah. So there's, I mean, this is very rudimentary, the little things that I'm doing right here and this kind of stuff. All right. So what I want to do is, one thing, I think there's a magnify. There's more in here. If you look right here, it's actually, I think it's magnify. I don't see it right now. Oh, it's over here. I'm sorry. Magnify.
Yeah.
So I can actually magnify this. So if I wanted to emphasize YouTube, I can just leave it like that. That's kind of cool.
Wow. Don't have to do a call out at all.
That's right. Don't have to do a call out, and you can make it whatever percentage and how thick you want the line, etc. So that's kind of neat. Gives you a little magnifying tool, and you can change the colors. So there you go. That's one thing you can do. Control Z. Let's see. Stamp. Really cool stamps. They have all kinds of stuff. I think the default is stock stamps, actions. You can, like, I love this. Oh, where was it? Was it there? I think it's that red lasso looking thing. A lot of times if you draw on screen, as opposed to drawing screen, because I don't really draw well, I can actually put this circle there and make that circle whichever one I want. You know what I'm saying? I can make that any size and do it like that.
That's cheating.
Yeah, I know. A lot of times you want to do that, but you don't have a pen or a pencil or whatever, and you want to freehand it. That's kind of cool to be able to circle something like that. Really kind of neat. Or if you wanted to, in this example, also I can put like a dot, just to emphasize with my cursor. So I can emphasize that point that way. It's got some really cool ones. The dragging of the cursor. Oh, I still had that one selected. Let me go to drag. Yeah, the cursor drag, all kinds of stuff. There's really some neat stuff on there. Fun to look through. And there's a lot of different icons too. You got business stuff like phones and call outs and disk and stuff you can add to your images. Really neat. Maps, it has map stuff. And then there's numbers. This was kind of cool too. Like if let's say I wanted green numbers, I can actually, there's handwritten ones too. These are all inside of a circle, which is kind of nice to do. But you can go to, let me see if I can find that where it's freehand. Oh, like it looks like you wrote it. Oh, here we go. Is this it? I'm trying to remember. I was on it earlier and I don't know where it is, but it's really cool. I thought it was under numbers, maybe. Symbols, maybe. Symbols. That's kind of cool. So if you're needing to show like a tilde sign, like in Spanish we use over the N, something like that. They got light ones, dark ones. I swear I thought it was under here that you could do the numbers where it's handwritten. That's really cool. Like instead of actually writing on the screen, you can make it look like you wrote on the screen. It's really kind of neat. But I can't find it right now. But symbols, like I said, there's all kinds of symbols. You have vehicles, has road signs like bikes and stuff, and then you also have where is that? I saw them earlier. Yeah, I don't even see them now.
Interesting.
Yeah, so there's a lot of kind of cool stuff that you can do to add little things or symbols to your document or things that you're trying to emphasize and use. Really kind of neat. hand drawn. There it is. Hand drawn in English. There you go. So I can type, I can just put the H right here. I can put I. There you go. I can just do that. It's really kind of cool. So you can add handwritten text.
Okay.
Or
That
hand
means
drawings of like the buttons if you wanted, like the record button and things. And it's really kind of fun. A checkbox or an X, you can add those kind of things. A lot of times that's useful to let people know uh, for emphasizing when you're editing a document and things like that. So kind of cool.
okay. Weird question.
Yeah.
Can you take one of those, any one of them, and save them as a separate image on your machine, and then like use it as an image to bring in as a layer in Pixlr?
Probably. I mean, I don't
Okay.
know the answer to that. I mean, I would imagine if you can do this, oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. If I bring that in and I have nothing else on screen,
Mm-hmm.
that is a PNG, I don't see why you couldn't. I mean, it makes total sense, right?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I think I think I may have just found a whole new library of stuff that can be used in Pixlr too. It'd take a little work to get it all copied off and everything, but
Yeah.
unless I could find the folder that
But
Snagit got it in, copied the whole folder.
because you can go, I mean, like if I choose this, I can make this as big as I want. That's one thing that's nice. It's in its natural form, so it's going to keep its.
Mm-hmm.
You really don't need to use Pixlr, really. I mean, because this is becomes your editor as far as that goes. So it's really got some cool stamps. Really neat stuff. Now, effects. This is really nice. I love the effects. Let's look at perspective. One time, I mean, not one time, but sometimes it's cool to, if you want to show perspective, I can change the horizontal. It'll flip everything like off, like it's coming in from the side. That's
Ah,
kind of neat. There's a lot of times when you want to
that's
do something like that.
really neat. Yeah.
Or if you want to bring it like, if you're flipping it up, from the bottom up, trying to get that kind of pyramid look or whatever, or even if you're coming from the bottom like that, like it's floating in, you can do those kind of things. That's kind of neat. I like that. That's really an interesting tool. Um, Spotlight and magnify. This is kind of what I was doing originally in my design issues. So I have to go here to select. Let me select this section. Let me just take Gmail for this example. Then I go to spotlight and magnify. And when I do that, I can zoom it out. See how it zooms out?
Mm-hmm.
Exactly that same thing. All right. And I think I can move it. No, I can't move it over. That gives me select. I can do horizontal position. Yeah, I can move it off to the side. There you go. So
Mm.
really it's kind of doing the same thing. Vertical, bring it down. There you go. So it's kind of doing that same thing that it was doing originally. Resize. Can't drop shadow. I can add a drop shadow just so I can see that I did pull out a section. Kind of let you know that too. That's kind of cool. I like
Yeah,
that.
gives it a little texture too.
Yeah, yeah. Um, Color adjustment. If I take and I adjust the colors. Now this is kind of cool. If I take the whole image again. Okay, so I have the image and I do color adjustment. I can change the brightness of the colors. See how I can,
Mm.
shadow and stuff like that. Change the saturation, gamma, and all that. Color replacement. This is kind of neat. So if I take all the blue colors and turn them into green. So what I've done is, here you can set this color to whatever you want. Let's just take this red color. Now, if you look, I just want to emphasize with this. Actually, let me take like the red color in this, because that's not going to change anything on the YouTube or this or whatever else. Even though it's taken the whole image, it just took that because that's a different red from all those others. But I can also, I'm going to pick this color. I can do it as I go. Well, see, it just took a line of it. But it's kind of neat. If you wanted to replace a color, you can do that kind of thing. I'm going to pick this color. Yeah, it's just taking, since there's different colors within this, it's only picking that one color. It's real, and I believe you can the sensitivity you can change, or the tolerance. Yeah, tolerance. There we go. So if I want to change, yeah. See, if you notice, look at that now. Look at that Google Plus. It's changing to all to green. Everything's turning to green. That's on there. That's red, except for the
Yeah.
email. That's kind of cool, huh?
So you could change one part of a gradient background and not change the rest of it.
Basically, yeah, because you're doing just replacing that specific color. Yep, sure is. Kind of neat, huh?
Mm-hmm.
One thing that I just love is edges too. I can give an edge to this whole thing. So if I choose, I like the torn look. That's good. Add a shadow to it. Got the shadow. Good. And you see how that took a little torn
Oh,
page.
that's neat. Now, I like that.
Yeah, like you tore a page off. You can actually make that all the way around too. So you can, what is border? I think, yeah. Like you can change. Can't remember. Border size. You can change that color. You can make it, like a reddish color. There you go. Reddish shadow.
Neat.
Yeah, it's really kind of cool. I thought that was really neat. The width, you can make it bigger. See, now it's taking the whole page. I think that's kind of cool. That's really kind of neat how it does that kind of thing. Change the size so you can make it bigger. So that's kind of like it's torn off a page. That's really cool. I love the little, you can add quick effects. You can add it to quick effects, so that way you can add it. If you're doing the same thing all the time, you can add those. That's kind of neat. Instead, I can make this like a bevel, like a button. See how I just made it like a button? Now it shows up that way as its own button kind of thing. There's a bunch of them. I mean, saw, there's different things, like saw blade, that's kind of neat. Shark tooth, you can have like a shark took a bite. So yeah, it's kind of neat how you can actually fade that side, fade from the bottom, or fade, in different ways that way too. But I like the torn. I think that kind of gives it a neat look,
Yeah.
You can make it just a little torn, or you can make it really like a big rip. Takes up a lot of your, you can remove the border, add a shadow, do those kind of things. You can make the size different, etc. So there you go. You can cancel that. Page curl, kind of neat. Just gives it kind of a curl. Page that you can make it look like it's a piece of paper. I like that kind of thing. Let's see. Border. I want to give the border to whatever it is. You can see, you can apply a border to the whole thing, to your page. If you want to shadow something, see how it shadows to give it some perspective, like it's laying on the page, that kind of thing. Some filters. I think like you can invert colors. There's different things on here. Soften, so it takes some of the text away. If that's not what your emphasis is, opacity, monochrome, all that kind of stuff. So it's got some really cool stuff with the effects. And this is a toggle. I mean, you just kind of effects, you can turn them off and on. Properties, same thing. If you bring up properties, you can turn them off and on. And it usually defaults to selection. You can fill with colors, all kinds of stuff, text, that kind of thing. I just think it's kind of neat that you can, if I wanted to blur, this is a good one too. So if I want to blur a section and I want this to be, somewhat visible, I can change smooth and the intensity is 25%. I can just take that section and blur it. I can take, if it's YouTube that I want to emphasize, I can just take all these out and then have YouTube there.
That's a neat effect, yeah.
Yeah, I think it helps. You can adjust it once it's there. Yeah, so now YouTube stands out. And
well, it's like it's all those other things are there, but you're kind of emphasizing YouTube.
Yep, exactly. So I can actually change the intensity too. So you guys know what's back there just based on, if I change that intensity down, you can kind of see, but it just blurs it out and makes that YouTube stand out. Really kind of cool. Yep, makes those few things stand out. You can see that they're all part of something. You can use Pixelate instead. If I use Pixelate, you can do that, and then you wouldn't recognize it. Yeah, it's kind of neat. I really like it. And if you notice down at the bottom, down in this bottom section down here, I'm going to, let me get this. Down here, if you notice, it has your image that you're working on and then your other image that you have, and it starts to build a library. This whole thing becomes a film strip of all the images that you captured and you've been working on and that kind of thing. So it gives you a chance to come back. You can hide that tray. This is the recent captures tray. Kind of cool. Helps you find it that way. Let me. I think that's the things that I wanted to go over. Magic wand, that's just for selecting the area. Cropping is like any other thing. Cutout, I haven't learned it, so I don't know it. But what it says there is delete a vertical or horizontal section. So yeah, section of an image and join the two pieces together. So it like cuts it out for you. It's really kind of cool.
You could hypothetically take YouTube on down if you wanted to and take it out, and then the other two slides would come together.
Yeah, that's right. Yep. Basically, that's what it's saying there. Yeah. There's a pen. You can always draw on screen, a line, highlighter. You can highlight certain things, and step. I am going to show you step. So let me just say, let me Control Z a little bit, get rid of some of this stuff so you can kind of see. All right, so there we have all our icons. So, step. I love this. Okay, so if my thing is 1, if I've got 4-step process and I'm using this, let's say I want to we'll just keep with the purple thing. I'm gonna go to YouTube first. There's 1. Now I don't have to type in 2, but I'm gonna go to Gmail next in step 2. Go to Maps, step 3. It automatically does it for me. That is so stinking cool. So you got step 1 is go to YouTube, step 2 is go to Gmail, and then step 3 goes to Maps, and it gives you the little thing and automatically puts the numbers in there for you. Way too cool. I just love that. I can turn this, like if it doesn't fit on screen, I can, isn't that cool? I just love that. Then I can over here, I can start a call out that is just a square, and I'll keep with the purple theme. Step 1, open YouTube. Oops. Okay, and then step 2, open Gmail. This is just an example of what you can do, and if I align them on the left. Actually, I want to align everything. Let me just align each of those on the left, and I can expand this so it's all one line. And then step 3, open Maps. See, so you could kind of have it related so everybody can see the 1, 2, and 3. Kind of cool.
All right, now. I wonder what happens. You're doing a screen share, you're in Zoom, you're doing this whole demo, and what happens if I were to turn on the annotate and put an arrow? Okay, it doesn't work.
So if I want to add like step 1 so it matches, I can do that too. So I can do 1, 2, and 3. That's kind of cool. So if I can copy, paste, I can double click, put a 2 in there. See, this doesn't because there's already some on screen that has this, but that's kind of neat that you can do this kind of stuff. And if I double click it, 3, boom, kind of neat. I just love that. I think that's so cool to be able to do that. So now it matches. So step 1, open YouTube. Step 2, open Gmail. Step 3, open Maps. So I can put all that right there together so you can see That's the process of what we're doing. I love steps. I think that's kind of neat. And it'll do like A through Z as well. It'll do alphabet. Don't know. I don't know if there's any. Oh, yeah. Okay. It just changes like what the shape is for urban and the color. But you can always change the colors, text, shape. You can pick a shape. There's your shapes that you can choose. Color. You can change your text color and your fill color. Shadow, if it gives a shadow, you can put the shadow to one side or the bottom or to the right, that kind of thing. You can change those things, so it's kind of cool. I love the step. Step's kind of neat. And then eraser, you can erase stuff out of, so basically that's it. I mean, that's mostly the thing. Now I can customize this menu too, customize toolbar. I can add any of these things. Any things that you saw me using, I can drag them and put them up in here. So they're up here. If I do something all the time, like I'm duplicating or I'm grabbing text or whatever I'm doing, rotating an image or printing, that kind of thing, I can drag that up here and add it to the toolbar. So a frequently used thing, which is really nice. That's kind of nice too. And it just keeps going over here, I think. I'm going to add one. Just see. All these are on there.
Okay.
Step I can add. I can add step like so it's there from now on. If I use blur quite often, I can add that. So it just adds them on there. That's really nice. I love being able to, anytime you have an edit bar or a toolbar like that you can customize with stuff that you use all the time. Like if I never use fill, I can drag that out. I mean, it's really that's kind of neat to be able to do that. One thing I didn't show you, let me get back over. Yeah, here, if you use an effect all the time, like the same effect, you can add that up there too. Kind of cool. For example, this, oops, I didn't mean to do that. Control Z. If I am, like this right here, if I want this floating image, it's really kind of a floating image that I can't edit. Like I can't, this is one of the downfalls that I think there is. If I wanted to put a border around this, there's no way to put a border around it. The only way I can do that, see how it deselects it and selects the full image as soon as I come. I have to space it and put it in there myself. I can do it, but it's not part of it. This is a separate thing. So if I move that, it moves out of the way. If I go to selection and I click this, it moves out of the way. I wish I could combine this. The only way you can do that though, to make this calendar part of this image is to flatten it. If I flatten it, it now becomes part of this. Oops, I didn't mean to do that.
Okay.
So now when I try to move something or whatever, it just does the whole image. Yeah, right now it's doing selecting. So that makes sense?
Yeah, because it's working when you're doing it where you can't do it. Before you flatten it, it's acting just like a layer does in Pixlr, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Except you can't edit that layer. That's all.
Right. Right.
Manipulate it and edit it.
Right.
Guys, that's the stuff I have for today. That's it.
Okay.
Everything I wanted to go over. You guys have anything or want to add anything?
So you capture in the other thing and you edit in here.
Correct. One's the capture, Snagit capture, and one is the capture Snagit editor.
Okay.
That is correct.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah.
Well, when I get time, I may play with this some more.
Yeah. You guys have any other questions? Anything that I can answer, hopefully?
No, because like I say, I'm going to have to get in and do some actual playing. I've only had time to look at that first little capture thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I hadn't even really opened it up. Yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully it helps you a little bit, though.
Yeah, it will.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Now, it's going to be interesting when you see the recording.
Okay.
Because while you were doing that, I clicked the annotation and tried to add an arrow to your screen share. Okay, it didn't take on the screen share. But
Okay.
on the background, on the blue background, once you got up above your toolbar, the Snagit toolbar and everything,
Yeah.
at some point there may be a red arrow with my name that shows up in that blue section. I
Okay.
don't know whether it recorded or not. I was just doing a test to see if you could, while you're doing that, you could use Zoom as an annotation
Sure.
in a
Okay.
Snagit thing.
Yeah.
So if you see that arrow come up, that's what caused it.
All right. I'm going to stop recording.
Okay.
Alrighty. And thank you, anybody that's rewatching this. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me some questions about it.